This is the 13th week of school. I challenged them to build something that represented kindness. And after that, we threw the paper airplanes across the classroom. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariely Sanchez, and I'm a 4th grade teacher in South Florida. So welcome. It is Tuesday. Since yesterday was Veterans Day and it was a holiday, school was closed, I wanted to extend a big thank you to all of the men and women that are part of our armed forces, and also all the men and women that are also part of the first responders, like our police officers and firefighters. Thank you so much for all that you do. It is very much appreciated. All right, so I am coming to you during our specials time. The students are actually in music right now. And this morning we were going over our chapter 2 for social studies. We're trying to catch up with social studies. I did start with social studies today. So we're reviewing the regions of the United States. And I started by having the students complete a review game, which is a lesson game that comes with our TCI social studies curriculum of Florida Alive. And it was great because it has a lot of questions that go over the material that's in the actual chapter. And after that, we were going to play a Kahoot game, but we ran out of time. So I'm going to try and squeeze it in this afternoon after recess. After the students go to music, they go to lunch. After lunch is recess, and we're going to be playing in our Minecraft world today. And yeah, so after recess, we are going to go ahead and play that Kahoot game that reviews chapter 2. We're going to do it in team mode. So I'm going to give each team a laptop. So we're going to have 5 teams, or maybe I have enough so that I can have more than 5 teams. Maybe I can have 10 teams, and that way they have more laptops around. Since we have like 9 laptops, we can borrow maybe one more laptop from one of the other teachers that we also share with. All right, so we have that planned for today, and then they'll take their test. After that, we're going to continue on with the day, and I'll be sure to let you know the highlights of today. So let me also show you my outfit for the day. And here we are at our mirror of positivity, or positive reflections mirror. And I'm wearing my teach shirt, which is really cool because each letter makes other words that are related to teaching. And I'm sorry that you see it backwards, but it's the reflection in the mirror. This is from a company that used to be known as the Blue Envelope, but now they're called as To Be Enough. I'm also wearing some black jeans and some ballet flats with some little stones and sparkles on them. And of course, my Lily Pop lanyard with the donuts. So that is my little outfit of the day. All right, so that is pretty much how our morning is going. I do have to say, this morning, as I was driving to school, I was in a lot of physical pain, and my pain medicine didn't kick in on time. And it was just horrible this morning. It's the type of pain that leaves you really debilitated, weak. I'm still kind of like off like a little bit. So I do have to be kind to myself today and just try to do my best and have a good day with the students, hit our lesson standards. And then after school, I'm just going to go home and do some self-care and take care of myself because, yeah, I'm just not feeling physically well. So just trying to do my best here, like I always do. And we are usually in situations like that, so I'm sure that you can relate. All right, so let me go ahead and continue with my planning time, and I will check in with you probably at the end of the day. It's now the end of the day, and the highlight of today definitely was the Kahoot that the students played to review the social studies concepts in chapter 2, and then they took the test. And I had them actually grouped in groups of 2 or 3, and I had them choose their own teams, and it was a lot of fun. So then we went over some math, which we did the chapter 4 review test together, and then we reread the shared selection in Wonders Unit 1 Week 4, and they started practicing the vocabulary words and the comprehension skill, which is cause and effect. So tomorrow is another day. We're going to continue catching up with all these things. And they're also going to take their chapter 4 division test in math. So that's all I have for you today. Let's now move us on to Wednesday. Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesday. So today is actually World Kindness Day and I am coming to you at the end of the school day. And this morning, as soon as the students came in and they had to work on their brain bins, I challenged them to build something that represented kindness in some way or another. I went around and I took some video clips of some of the creations that the students created. A lot of them created hearts. Some of them created some interesting builds that they were able to explain to me why it was connected to kindness. One person created one where he had two people that came together to make a heart. Other people, especially with the Jenga blocks, were writing out messages like I love you or smile. So it was a really great activity this morning for the students to come in and start the day out thinking about kindness and what it represents and what builds could actually represent kindness in their own interpretations. So that is how we started the day. And then we went on to complete the reading skills that we were working on yesterday. So students finished working with their vocabulary sentences and we read a firehouse lesson which went over our cause and effect skill that we're focusing on right now, along with the forces and motion, which is a science topic within reading. And at the end of the day, I was feeling like, oh man, I didn't get to science because we had to have a class meeting after lunch. But one of the students, I'm like, well, Ms. Sanchez, we did science during reading. So I'm like, you know what? Yes, we did. Even though that's not the topic we're necessarily covering in science right now, we did do science. So I checked it out from our schedule. As you can see by all the checks in today's schedule, we got through everything pretty much. The students also worked on completing their cut and paste essays with the little introduction, body paragraph, and conclusion paragraph slips. And I gave them a little paper for them to go ahead and start scoring their papers to try and see if they have all those pieces. Now, this is just a preliminary way that I'm having them score their papers. I'm going to make a few tweaks here and there to it, but at least it gives them an idea of what we expect for them to include in their essays. So let me give you a little glimpse of that checklist. Here is the checklist that I gave to the students. As you can see, every domain has different things that they need to add with a point value. Now, this is just a rough estimate that I created to kind of help them know how to score their essays and what to look for and what to include. But for now, this is how we're starting it. And again, like I said, I will be making some tweaks to this. So after that, it was time for Spanish. Then we went to lunch. After lunch, we had our class meeting. But after that, we did a quick review on the board for some math problems that they were going to have on the math test. And then they started taking the math test. So that pretty much brought us to the end of the day. And right now, they are at a dance, which I am going to chaperone right now for about an hour or so. And then I'm going to go home. So I'll be sure to share a couple of clips of the dance, even though it's totally dark in there, because they turn off the lights and then they have some lighting effects and music and they're gonna have pizza and different things to eat and drink and snack on. But before I go to the dance, I wanted to show you my outfit of the day, which includes my Be Kind shirt from Kind Cotton, which I'll link down below. They are a great small business organization run by an educator herself, and proceeds of the t-shirts they sell actually goes towards charity. So let me show you. So here is my Be Kind shirt. Again, I'll link her website down below. And I'm just wearing it with some dark blue pants and my ballet flats with a bow in the front. And I'm also pairing it with my Donuts Lily Pop lanyard. Yep, this has been my favorite one so far. I'm wearing it all the time right now. So yeah, now I'm going to head downstairs and go to the dance, and I will say goodbye to you for Wednesday before I go home. All right, my shift at the dance is over. It is after 3:30, so I am now walking to my classroom so I can wrap up for the day and go home. Oh, by the way, I'm in the staircase and I don't know if the sound, if the camera can get it. Just kind of waited for the coast to be clear, but hopefully this comes out in the camera. But I love the acoustics and the stairway much. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. I love doing that. Okay, so I'm getting to my classroom right now and getting ready for the end of the day. All right, I am all set to go. I am starting something new as of today. I even set up two new alarms in my phone. One goes off at 3:50 to give me a 10-minute warning to go home, and the other one goes off at 4 to tell me to go home. So I'm really trying to get out of school by 4. Well, right now I'm kind of cheating because it's 4:08. But I'm going home because with the time change, it gets really dark earlier. And I also don't want to keep staying so late because no bueno. All right, so I'm going to go home now. But first, I'm going to show you one of the presentations that the students turned in today. Today, they had their natural disasters project that was due. Most of them chose to do a PowerPoint for their interactive presentation or a Google slide. I had one student actually create a model of a volcano because she had volcanoes as her natural disaster. So when she presents, she even has the vinegar and the baking soda to make the volcano react and erupt. So let me show you that. Check this volcano out. I mean, how creative is this? She even has the different parts of the volcano labeled. And this is the bag that contains the vinegar and the baking soda. But wow, I can't wait for her to present and show the students what she learned about volcanoes. This is pretty cool. All right, so that's all I have for you for today, Wednesday. And now we'll move us on to Thursday. Hello everyone and welcome to Thursday. So I'm actually coming to you at the end of the day to give you the highlights from today. So this morning the students were asked in their brain bin challenge to build something that represented a natural disaster since their projects were due yesterday and that is still fresh in their mind. So as I walked around, I had a couple of students create some interesting things from a tornado to an actual tsunami and yeah, various different things that I thought were very creative, and I'm very proud of what they created. So after that, the students went ahead and finished their math chapter 4 test that they started yesterday. And since I had a couple of students already finished, I had them work on some computer programs. So they had choices. They could either do their iReady minutes for math, their reflex math, SumDog for math, or I introduced them to Prodigy because I had talked about Prodigy before, but I had completely forgotten to give them their logins last time. So I remember this time and they absolutely loved it. And there's another website that a fellow teacher let me know about and it's called Legends of Learning. So I will be having my students try that out from tomorrow to next week to see what they think. And Legends of Learning is really good for math and science. So after that, they went to art, we went to lunch. After lunch, I had 4 students present their natural disasters project. I had someone present on thunderstorms, another person presented on droughts, another person presented on tornadoes, and I'm drawing a blank on the last one. But we had 4 people present, and then we went to the media center for our computer time where they did their iReady minutes. And then we dashed back to the classroom by 12:30 because we were participating in a virtual field trip with Discovery Education. We were learning about polar bears in the tundra. So the students had an opportunity to learn about polar bear adaptations, why it's important for us to protect them, what they could do in order to help polar bears, and it was a lot of fun. So after that virtual field trip, which took about 30-40 minutes, we went outside, took advantage of the weather because the weather outside had been pretty rainy since last night. And it was supposed to continue raining all throughout the day. So I saw a chance to go outside. The weather had cleared for a bit. I mean, it's still cloudy and it's still going to stay cloudy till tomorrow because we have a cold front coming in. But we had an opportunity to go outside because last night I went to Home Depot and I bought a basil plant to add to our garden along with some marigolds that we are going to plant in the perimeter of the garden bed because those are organic, natural defenses against pests, and we have organic gardens here in our school. And I also got some seeds for colorful carrots and spinach, and the students had an opportunity to help me, and we went out there, we cleaned up the garden bed, we made sure we kept the oregano oregano that was still there. We moved the flowers that were in the middle to the perimeter, the corners, or at least 3 corners of our garden bed, and we started to plant. So they got pea pods, and they were able to put a little bit of soil. They chose the seed that they wanted to plant. So they had an option between the colorful carrots that I mentioned, the spinach, but we also had pepper and sugar snap peas. So they chose which plant they wanted to plant, and I gave them a little popsicle stick with their name on it so they can put it in their little pea pod. And then I sectioned off different parts of the garden. So we have a section for the carrots, a section for the peppers, including jalapeno peppers, a section for the herbs, which includes the basil with the oregano, a section for the sugar snap peas, and the section for the spinach. And yes, we will be not only growing these vegetables, but later on as they grow, we're going to harvest them. And later on, we're going to create recipes in class that the students are going to eat. And our garden bed is part of the Ed Fund, and it incorporates cross-curricular subjects, science, math, social studies, reading, and writing. So we'll be incorporating that in the classroom. And yeah, we're pretty much done. And I finished planting the last of the marigolds with my son and his girlfriend, Alanis. So we are done for the day, and I'm happy with how the garden came out. And that's all we had time for. When we came back from gardening, we were part of the Q&A section for the polar bears with Discovery Ed, and then it was time to go home. So that's pretty much our entire Thursday. And now we're going to move us on to Friday. Hello and welcome to Friday. I'm coming to you at the end of the day to bring you the highlights for today. And there were a couple of them to mention. So this morning we were working with our brain bins, and it was actually a free build, and the students enjoyed that. After that, we started going over chapter 5, factors and multiples in our Go Math. And I showed the kids about rainbow factorization, and we also started modeling some factors. So here we have on the board, going over some math vocabulary, making sure the students understand factors. And of course, a factor times a factor equals a product, but that product is also the multiple of these two factors, a multiple of these two factors. And then we were looking at other factors for the number 20, and this is where my rainbow factorization comes in. And it's not mine. I say mine because I use it, but I learned it from someone else. And I start by putting a 1 and a 20 all the way over here, and then we connect it together because these two are factor pairs. Then, since number 20 is even, 2 is always a factor of even numbers. So we put 2, and then we ask what number times 2 equals 20, and that's 10. So we connected those two. And then, of course, we already had 4 times 5, and that is the next factor pair. And then we're done because we found our middle factor pair. And that is a little bit of rainbow factorization that we did this morning. Now, after that, we had our specials, lunch, then we had a little bit of recess. We had some technology issues with the laptops because we only had a few minutes, and some of the laptops are a little slow, or sometimes you need to restart them in order to get the program to run. It's just things that happen, and the kids know it, but it was frustrating to say the least. So we won't have our next recess time until Tuesday. So then after that, they had Spanish, and after Spanish, we started with our reading, which they took a selection test for the Max Axiom selection. Now, then we read the paired selection, the box sit project, and I wanted to do something fun in order to review not only the cause and effect skill, but also some reading comprehension questions. So I gave them all a different color paper. I had them write their name on it, the date. I had them write Reading Rockets, Unit 1, Week 4. Reading Rockets is a strategy that I learned from Juan Gonzalez, Mr. G, on Instagram, and I learned it recently when I went to the Teacher Heart Out conference in San Antonio. Basically, I had the students write a question on their color sheet. They answered it, and then afterwards, they had to build a paper airplane out of the colorful paper. I did have to show like a 1.5-minute video on YouTube for a quick way that the students can make a paper airplane because a lot of them didn't know how to do it, which is fine. And after that, we threw the paper airplanes across the classroom, and then they picked them up, and then they responded to that person's answer. And of course, they signed their name. And then I asked another question that I had them write, and the students worked on answering that question. Then they folded their papers again, and we threw them across the classroom. They picked up a new paper airplane, and this time they used an emoji to respond to that person's answer. So here are the emojis that I wrote on the board to give them some options, and this is what the students could choose from. So I drew some emojis very quickly on the board that the students can use in order to respond to the person who wrote the answer. And then we did one more thing, which was to give the paper to the original person that had the paper so that that person can read. And then I collected all their papers, and I will be looking at those answers to make sure that the students actually were on the right track when it came to answering these comprehension questions. So that was a lot of fun. And then after that, we went ahead and we started having other students present their natural disasters project. We had 3 more students present. One of them did a really good job. He was dressed in like a little suit with a tie with emojis, and he was acting as a weather news reporter from the Weather Channel and CNN and all that stuff. And he did a really great job. I had another student also do a really great job going over earthquakes. And our last student actually had a real model of a volcano that after she explained what volcanoes were and she talked about the diagram that she created or the model, she actually used baking soda and vinegar to make the volcano erupt. And that was very exciting and a really great way to end our Friday and our 13th week of school. So that's pretty much what our day was like, and now you've seen the whole week. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought or any questions you may have. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I hope you have a beautiful, magical day, and don't forget to smile. Hello, dreamers, wishers, and magical thinkers. Thank you so much for making it to the very end of this video and for showing your support. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking on my picture down here. You can also check out my latest videos here and here. Don't forget to believe in the magic that's inside you because you are capable of great things. See you next time.